Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's installment of Boredom Busters. It is Tuesday, April 7th, and it is supposed to be very nice and warm today. All right, well, we have to announce our winner from last week's contest, and that person is Megan Moore. So congratulations, Megan. Go ahead, get in touch with us, and we will get you your science or art kit. Now, I wanted to remind everybody today that with this beautiful weather that we're expecting, it can be tempting to go out and play on the playgrounds. But we need to remember to stay safe, and to do that, we should stay in our own yards, or if we'd like to go to the park, try to find one that's just lots of nice open area for running around. Now, Macaroni Kid has a nice list that you can look at to find some local parks, even some a little bit outside of Lincoln, that are nice and open so you don't have to worry about coming into contact with other people today. All right, well, our theme this week is family, and that means a lot of different things. Family can mean who you are and who your parents are, the things that you do together, but it also comes down to biology. So today we're going to do a couple of activities that are all about DNA. So what is DNA? DNA stands for a very long science word, deoxyribonucleic acid, and that DNA is inside of every single cell of every single thing. Now, the cells are so tiny, and everything that's alive is made out of cells. Now, think about sand on the beach. Now, those pieces of sand are pretty small, right? Well, cells are even smaller. If every single cell in your hand was the size of a grain of sand, your hand would be bigger than a school bus. Now, today, for our story that we have linked below, our book recommendation, Quackenstein Hatches a Family. It's a pretty cute story. I definitely recommend that. It's linked below. And our video recommendation is about heredity. So it's great, it's at a good level. It can help everybody understand a little bit more about DNA. Now this picture right here, going right across the screen, that is a picture of a DNA strand. Now, we have our instructions linked below, as always. And today we're going to do a DNA extraction from some strawberry cells. Then I'm going to show you how you can build your own double helix DNA of toothpicks and candy. And just a reminder, we're doing, well, I guess today's the first day actually, of 6, a photo activity. So try to think of a theme before you go out on your walk and you go outside to play today. Think of a theme together. Maybe it's circles or people riding bicycles, anything. Come up with any theme, take 10 photographs of it whenever you find it when you're out and about, and save them in a folder on your computer or your phone. And at the end of the week, after you choose a different theme every day, you can go through and look at them and see if you can find other things that are similar as well. All right, now some things to think about today. So DNA, well, I've said DNA, I've said cells, but really, what do cells do? What is made out of cells? You know, everything is made out of cells. Everything that's alive or has ever been alive is made out of cells. So, I'm made out of cells. My cat at home is made out of cells. And even the lettuce in my salad is made out of cells. And DNA, which is inside those cells, it tells the cell what it is and what to do. So, my body, do you think that my entire body is made out of the same kind of cells? And I have skin, I have fingernails, I have bones in there, and blood, I have a brain, my eyes. There are over 200 different kinds of cells just in my body, and they all have different jobs. So that DNA that's inside of those cells, it tells those cells if they should be a bone cell, or a blood cell, or a skin cell. And it also contains all of the information about me. It says that I am a human, that I am a female. It says that my skin is the color that it is, and my eyes are kind of a bluish brown. It says that my hair is this kind of brownish color, even though, yes, my skin cells hold that information. Now, everybody's cells and everybody's DNA are very, very close, very, very similar. There's only a tiny little thing that makes them different from each other. All right, now I have my activity, our first big activity today, and this is one that you can do at home. Now, I am going to use a strawberry because strawberries, they have even more DNA inside their cells than we do. They have 8 copies of their DNA in every single cell. We only have 2. So over here, you'll come join me over here. I have my strawberries. I have some salt, dish soap, and water. That's really all it takes, but, oh, and our rubbing alcohol. That's necessary. It was hiding in my bucket of ice water. It's good for it to be really, really cold. Now, as an optional ingredient, this just helps to protect the DNA a little bit. I have a regular contact lens solution. Not the fancy kind with the hydrogen peroxide that bubbles, just the regular kind. You can also use, in place of this, meat tenderizer or even pineapple juice. They just all have a similar enzyme in there. All right, now to get started, you need a Ziploc bag. And we're gonna put that strawberry, whole thing, right in there. Now, the cells in this strawberry. Now, I'm imagining, let's see, if my hand was the size of a school bus, if all the cells were grains of sand, how big do you think the strawberry would be if all of its cells were the size of a grain of sand? At least a little car. All right, so now what I'm doing here, I'm squishing this strawberry. And while I'm doing this, I'm breaking apart the cells from each other. So I'll just squish that up a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit of water to help break them up. That's good. And zip that bag back up. And squish it a little bit more. Now you wanna be careful when you're squishing it that you don't pop the bag, so don't get too excited. That's pretty fun. All right, so squish, squish, squish. Now, I'm gonna add a little bit of table salt. So the table salt is actually really important in this extraction. And that's because it helps the DNA stay safe in that liquid. So here we go. Squish that, make that salt all mixed in. All right. Looks good. Oh, there we go. Next, I'm gonna add a little squirt of dish soap. Now, we're all getting very familiar with soap these days, and that soap is doing exactly the same thing to these cells that it does to any kind of grease or fat, and what it does to the virus cells. The soap particles, the little molecules, are actually going in and breaking down those layers. Because even though you don't think of a strawberry as having any fat in it, in fact, there are some parts that are made out of lipids. Just a little bit, but it protects everything on the inside. All right, so now I've got this slurry, and I'm going to need to strain it out, because the leaves are in there, there are other chunks in there. So now I'm using this little test tube. It's a baby soda bottle, actually. If you have anything that is a slim container. It just is better if it's slimmer, then you don't have to use as much of the rubbing alcohol. I'm gonna use my funnel here. And then I have a small mesh strainer. If you don't have one of these, go ahead and experiment. I have successfully done this with a scrap of old t-shirt material. I've tried with regular fabric that's not stretchy. That didn't work very well. I have seen on the internet that some people will do it with coffee filters. All right, let's see here. This is a good team activity. It's easier with 2 people, but there we go. So that is in there now. That's plenty. I'm just gonna pop this over here. Put that in there. All right. So here we see this is strawberry, salt, soap, water. And what's happened here, well, we're gonna add just a little bit of this solution here first. Because this needs to sit for a couple minutes to help protect it. Now, I wanna make sure that I'm not getting too many bubbles on top. If you do get bubbles on top, then that's okay. It's actually really easy to pour out. See how the soap bubbles are staying in the back? So you can pour out from underneath the soap bubbles into another container if you need to. I'm gonna let that sit for a minute, and I'm gonna show you. Here's a picture of an animal cell and a plant cell. So they're pretty similar. You know, there's all these things in the middle. They point to things in both cells, but a couple of things are different. The plant cell has a cell wall and chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are what turn it green. Now, on this little printout here, you can do this on your computer or you can print it out. See if you can pronounce those words, and then see if you can help Kazoo figure out, does the little doggy, is he made out of animal cells or plant cells? Now go through those pictures and see when you're out on your walk today, see if you can figure out what's made out of animal cells and what's made out of plant cells. All right, now as this is sitting here, because we want it to sit for a minute, I'll show you. I drew a little picture here on the whiteboard. Now, the green, those are the cell walls. So a plant is a lot like a brick wall. Just all these little bricks all stuck together. So when we squished up the strawberry, we separated the cells from each other. So then we're left with just the cells all by themselves. Then we added some salt, and also when we were squishing, it helped break down the cell wall, and then the salt helped break down the cell wall. Now, the soap, this is the cell membrane, and you can see it on our diagram. The cell membrane is what's made out of fats. So the soap came in and split up that cell membrane. Now, this is exactly what happens when you are trying to wash the virus off of your hands. Now we have, this is called the nucleus. It's kind of like the brain of the cell. And that's also made out of lipids. So that soap broke through there. And now these little black squiggles, those are free. They can go out and they can stretch out. Those black squiggles, those are DNA. And the little bit of contact lens solution or meat tenderizer, that helps to protect the DNA once it comes out. All right, I think that we're ready. So now it's really important to use ice cold. It works best that way. I've had mine sitting in an ice bath here, so I didn't have to run to the freezer while I was showing you this. Now, 99% works a little bit better. 70% works just fine. I don't know if 50% works though. I haven't tried it with 50%. Now, this is a tricky part. You might need a grown-up to help with this, because you want to get the alcohol to layer on top. So tilt your tube and slowly squeeze that alcohol in. Now it floats because it is less dense. Just like a beach ball floats on the water. All right, so Mandy, can you see this here? Can you see how there's a little bit of white fuzz starting to show up?
Yeah.
So what that is the DNA, and it's rising out of that slurry. Now it's doing that because when it's in the strawberry slurry down there, it's actually soluble, so it's dissolved in there. But when it gets to the alcohol, it rises up and it is pulled out of that water. So if we wait for just a minute, let's leave this one here, Mandy, and let's move on to our little craft, and then I'll show you how we can pull that out. All right, now, this is our little fun build a double helix. So the double helix, that's that picture that I showed you earlier, where it's a double strand with little ladder rungs going in between. But the ladder rungs are actually, they're made out of two different things. So let's see here. Let's get these toothpicks. Now, I've got some little half toothpicks here. So you start, I got these little Sour Patch Kids, and in 4 different colors, because there are 4 different, well, amino acids in there on your DNA strand, but they always go to the same color. So my red is always, how about red and orange always go together? Which that means that this orange would go with a red. That leaves 2 other colors, purple and white. I'm going to match a purple, purple and white, purple and white. If I do another red, what color? We're going to do an orange. And then let's do an orange and a red. All right, now we need to, first, let's see. We're going to want to pair these up. Well, we're going to do our sides first. So we're going to stick these together, all in a row. I'm just going to go up to 4 today. I think that that's enough for today. But you can definitely do as many as you can. So there's those. And we're going to get these ones all stuck together too. Then when we have our 2 sides of the ladder all done, let's see, we need to connect them together. I'm going to use some more little half toothpicks. Stick it in there, stick it in there, right there, in there. All right, only 2 left. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. All right, so see how it looks like a ladder there? Well, it's a twisted ladder, so just twist it like that. And there you have it. There you have your yummy gummy DNA double helix. All right, let's go check out that strawberry DNA and see how it's doing. All right. Oh, look how much has come up in there. So we can use this. Now we want to make sure that when we put our skewer in, we don't go through the clear down to the white. But look at all that, Mandy. So that is all DNA. We're going to try to swirl it, kind of like if you're getting some cotton candy. Just get a little bit from the surface there. We pull it out. And if you have a little container, and put that in your little container. See how much you can get. And then if you want to keep it, put a little squirt of rubbing alcohol into that little container so it can float around in there. Let's see, let's get that in there. There it is. And there I have it. A little vial of strawberry DNA. Now, I would recommend that you try it with whatever you have at home. Now, Of course, some good things to try would be strawberries or celery or anything like that. Maybe even a little bit of chicken from your dinner. And yeah, sometimes you can even scrape the inside of your cheek and get some cells. That's a lot trickier though. That's an advanced version. Now, I hope that everybody enjoyed this activity and let us know how it went. Did you find that bananas had as much DNA as strawberries? What did you learn? And we hope that you all join us tomorrow. Join us tomorrow at 10:30, every day at 10:30. Now, we also will be doing our inverse parade on Saturday again. So if you missed it last Saturday, or if you just loved it so much you'd like to come again, between 10 and 12 on Saturday, we will be out waving at everybody who comes by on P Street in front of the building.
Greta, do we have a joke for today?
We do. Now, why was the little strawberry so sad?
I don't know. Why?
Because his mom was in a jam.